All right, so we're gonna go ahead and get started. I got a piece of 1084 carbon here. It's about 1/4 inch thick, about 5.5 inches long at the bottom here. I like to start with a sloped corner. I keep all of my end cuts in a little box right here, and I do like canister Damascus with them when I get a chance, after I get enough. But we're gonna start by putting the square end into the forge, okay? And we're gonna cut a little notch, and we're gonna isolate some material for the tank, okay? So I have a few forge options. I have this one that I built out of an old propane tank, and it has the house-made fuel delivery system with their ribbon burner. I have the house-made Apollo. I absolutely love this thing. You know, I can fit, 4 knives when I'm teaching a class in here. You know, I got this little 1-inch window down here. I use a 1-inch brick rather than a 2-inch thick brick down in the bottom. It creates this little window for me to work out of. It's perfect for bladesmithing. And then I have this all original 1901 Champion Forge and blower that I picked up off an old Vietnam veteran on Facebook Marketplace. He told me he had bought it used in the 60s, restored it, put it in a barn, and then got drafted to go to the war. And then when he got home, he never got around to using it. So it's in pretty mint condition, considering it's 120 something years old. All right, so the back end of our knife, the tang end, is hot enough to work. So our first step here is we're gonna hot cut a little notch in the bottom of our knife, okay? And this is gonna be the material that we're gonna use to isolate our tang. For our hidden tang, Brut Day Forge, or Kurochi finish, or blacksmith's finish, chef's knife that we're making, okay? So very important here, to have a really good, clean looking forged finish, you're gonna wanna get one of these brushes, all right? So we're gonna wanna try and remember to brush before and after our, every time we remove it from the forge and before we put it back in, okay? This is super important to get a nice, clean finish. I've preheated our anvil as well. I'm in Tampa, Florida, but we've had a little cold snap recently, so I've heated up some scrap material and just let it cool sitting on top of the anvil. So now my anvil is, about warm enough to cook an egg on. So we're gonna get started. Okay, so we've just cut a little notch. We cut a small one at the top and then a bigger one at the bottom. Now we've isolated some material for our tang, and now we're gonna draw this out a little bit so that we can hold on to it with our tongs. Okay, so we're gonna stop here. We don't wanna draw it out all the way. We just want a good chunky piece that we can hold on to and forge out the blade of our knife from here. Okay, so we have been putting it into the forge. We've been putting the tang into the forge, I guess is what I'm trying to articulate. Not very well. So we're gonna change up our tongs, okay, from these flat bar tongs to a set of wolf's jaw tongs, okay? So we're gonna go with these set. This set will hold a wider diameter, a little bit more comfortable. So we're gonna come around here and we're gonna grab and we're gonna hold it like this way from now on, okay? Rather than trying to pinch it from the sides, which we have no real stability there. The knife will come flying out and brand you. We wanna get these corners and the edges in the tongs, okay? In the wolf's jaw, all right? That's why they're called wolf's jaw tongs, okay? So back to the forge. Okay, so for this next step, I'm gonna tell you what the plan is before we come out of the forge. We're gonna change the shape of the profile in this next step and get a little bit of length, okay? So we're gonna manipulate the shape with this rounding hammer here, all right? And then we're gonna get some length. We're gonna draw it out with this cross peen, all right? So there's a lot of ways to do this. This is just one of them. This is a way to do it with minimal tools. I have a pretty extensive shop, but I know a lot of people don't, so I'm gonna do this with as minimal tools, as little power equipment as possible, primarily just hammer over anvil, okay? Okay, so I didn't explain prior to the heat. So the reason why we're using this hammer is this cross peen here moves the metal dynamically in two directions, okay? So it's gonna move the metal this way and this way. Very little horizontal movement here with the metal, unlike the rounding hammer, which pretty much moves it in every direction other than the slight little angles that you have. Can move the metal like in a rolling pin like motion. So on our next heat, we're gonna smooth out a lot of these indentations and hammer marks. Again, make it more flush, and then we're probably gonna do another round or two with the cross beam, okay? we're starting to get this banana shape, and that's what we want, all right? So our next couple of heats, we're trying to focus on achieving a good taper coming from the out of the handle, the beginning of our spine, and getting progressively thinner out to the tip of the knife. But we're gonna leave the last 1.25 inches or so, you know, a little bit thick, all right? That's gonna be probably the last thing that we're gonna forge, is out the very tip of our knife, okay? So if you get it too thin, two things are gonna happen. One, you're not gonna be able to move the metal around anymore, all right? And two, it's just gonna burn up and you're gonna get a lot of decarb there, and it's not what we want. All right, so this banana shape is okay because the edge is still really thick. So we have a lot of metal to move here. And after we forge in our bevels, there's nowhere for this metal to go but forward, okay? So this banana shape will correct itself and will bend upwards, all right? So this isn't how you forge every knife. This is just how you forge high-end Kurochi finish, Japanese style, or even Western style Brut forge chef's knives, okay, with forged in bevels, okay? We're not grinding them in. We're not knife makers, okay? We're bladesmithing today. So I'm trying to teach you how to do this the right way, all right? The traditional way. Sorry, not right way, the traditional way, all right? I'm not gonna be pretentious. All right, so. So, super banana. And you may have seen me switch, you know, hammers, not a big deal. I just went to a bigger dog's head hammer. You know, I could have done it with the smaller one. I like this one. So, don't freak out. So, one more thing, we're turning the knife around, okay? So we're putting the tang back into the forge, all right? We're gonna heat up this section here, our heel section, and we're gonna forge out our heel, okay? That's our next step. Okay, so we're gonna keep doing that, all right? We're gonna keep forging out the heel of our knife. Okay, so that's what we're looking for. A real good taper coming from out of the spine, forged in a bevel to our edge, because that's how you're supposed to do it. Okay. Or how they used to do it. So, my fault. What we're doing is instead of traveling all the way out to the tip, we're working in sections. We're working in hammer width sections. So we already did the heel portion. Now we're moving over one, okay? So we're moving the metal from the spine down to the edge, okay? Or from the spine to the middle, from the middle to the edge, all right? And we're working out progressively towards the tip. You can kind of see what's happening here. Okay, so we're forging evenly on both sides of our knife. Okay, we're not forging it all on one side. Okay, you'll end up with offset bevels, and that's hard to fix down the road. Okay, so best to forge evenly on both sides of your knife. Oh no! Getting close. So this is where we are at the moment, okay? So we have a beautiful taper coming from out of the tang, down the spine, out to the tip, okay? And we got a forged in bevel, all right? I guess we should look at my forged choil. It's kind of hard to get it to focus in there, but I guess you can kind of see it in there. So we still got some straightening to do. Well, we still got to forge out the rest of our tang, and then we'll straighten it up, okay? Okay. So that'll about do it. So from here, I'm just gonna do some straightening and refine the profile on the belt sander a little bit. And I'll show you what that'll look like, and we'll be done with this portion. Don't forget the brush. I like to use a ball peen hammer, flat side, to get a lot of my hammer marks out. Refine the shape of my, straighten my blade, you know, check all this stuff. Long ways. Uh-oh. I lost it. All right, so I'm gonna do 3 annealing cycles off camera before I take it over to my belt sander. Then I'm gonna draw, you know, some grind lines with my with a soapstone, okay? And then I'll normalize, you know, bend my tang. It may be off a little bit, who knows, I'm not really sure at this point. I'll have to get my final blade shape refined on the belt sander and then decide if I need to bend my tang up or down. But that's how you do a Brut de Forge Kurochi finish, chef's knife, you know, so. Okay, so from here we just got our little soapstone. And you can just draw yourself some guidelines. Help your eyeball will go to these white lines. Help you grind in your final, you know, shape. Okay, you just kind of draw whatever you like, and then take it over to your belt sander. So we're doing a normalization cycle, and I heat treat in my forge. I don't have a heat treating oven at the moment. I'm probably going to build one here soon. So I just do one heat treatment cycle. I don't do this incremental, 1750, 1650, 1550 thing you see people talk about on YouTube and on Reddit and stuff. So I just do one long normalization cycle at the lowest temperature. I'm at like around 1550 here in my forge, and I just sit in there for about 20 minutes, and then I'll pull it out and let it air cool. That's my normalization cycle, okay? The reason for that is you're just gonna refine it down to the smallest grain size with the lowest temperature. So doing this incremental steps is pointless. So the lower the temperature, the smaller the grain size. So just go with the lowest temperature first and just do one long 20-minute cycle in a forge. Okay, so I pulled the knife out and let it cool off camera. We've completed our normalization cycle. We're reheating the knife. We're gonna check for straightness. If there's any bends or warps, we're just gonna fix it over the anvil with, a little ball peen hammer. And then we'll bring it back up to temperature, and then we'll do our quench, okay? So, I'm just waiting for the knife to come up to temperature. We're gonna pull it, check for straightness, straighten the knife, which, can be a pain, trying to get it perfect, because it could possibly just warp in the oil, as you're probably aware at this point. So, fingers crossed. Okay, so the knife's straight, we're good to go. We're gonna do our quench now, and I'm gonna treat you a little bit like a child at this point, because I'm gonna assume you don't know what you're doing here or how to do this. So, we don't have a whole lot of time to get from the forge to the oil, okay? So we're hovering just above 1500 degrees in here. You gotta be 1475 or better, or higher, when you hit the oil. So, and when you hit the oil, you wanna go to the bottom of the tank. You wanna fully submerge all the hot metal, and then make short strokes up and down, okay? You don't wanna be stagnant down at the bottom of the oil, because you'll form a steam jacket around your knife, and you wanna avoid having all this air around your knife, and that'll cause uneven cooling, and you'll warp your knife. So you're gonna plunge your knife all the way down to the bottom, and make a bunch of strokes up and down until your knife's cool, okay? So yeah, if you do it right, there's no flames. So if you have fire, you probably need to make some adjustments. You probably need a bigger tank, like if you're doing big tooling. Like some of my friends who do some big tooling, they probably just need a bigger tank for their quench when they have flare-ups. So you know who you are. So to fully convert from austenite to arsenite, you want to be in the oil until your knife reaches below 200 degrees. So kick on the oil cooler, circulate some oil around our knife. Let it continue to cool. This will really, really, really harden the knife. Turn the oil cooler off. Let the oil run off. See how there's no smoke, no steam, no nothing? You need to fully cool off your knife in the oil to get the full conversion. Get a really hard knife, especially for high-end kitchen cutlery. When you get this thin, you know, the hardness, the edge retention is crucial. Okay, so this knife is so incredibly thin, but it doesn't warp, it doesn't bend at all. It's so incredibly hard. Getting that full cool down in the oil is so important. I can't stress it enough. So we're gonna lay that there. I'm gonna shut the forage off. So here's finished results out of the oil. I chose to wire brush it, you know, which isn't 100%, you know, traditional for a Kurochi finish for some of the Japanese styles, but I sell a lot of local stuff, and the wire brush stuff sells better. So I chose to do that with this knife. I took off the black oxide, and you know, I'll probably do a nice forced patina to it, you know, and then fit it up for a handle. But we'll do that in a different video. So that's today's video. If you found any of the information helpful, just please like, comment, and subscribe. I got a lot of equipment here in the shop. I got a mill and a lathe and some other metalworking tools unrelated to blacksmithing stuff. If you'd like to see anything done, or if you're having any trouble or would like a tutorial put together, I'd be happy to do that for you. Just let me know in the comments. Thanks for watching.